Hello everyone. Today we are doing part 2 of chapter 1, The Portrait of a Lady, written by Khushwant Singh. In the earlier lecture in part 1, we had discussed about their stay in the village when the family had shifted to the city. Now, the parents thought that we should call them in the city, and when Khushwant Singh and his grandmother went to city, this was a second phase of their life, and that is why I have written here turning point in their life. Both Khushwant Singh and grandmother shifted to city but shared the same room. There in the city they were given the same room. This was a kind of consolation for the grandmother. At least they were there in the same room. Author admitted to English medium school and went to school by bus. This was a change, as you must have seen earlier. They went to a school where temple was quite near to it, and grandmother always accompanied him to school, but here she could not. Grandmother was unhappy for the English, science and music kind of education the lessons were given there. Traditionally she did not like this. Grandmother further grieved at the lack of religious based education. Grandmother could not help him in his lessons, and that is why she felt isolated. All these developments, they only added to the unhappiness of grandmother. That is why it was a turning point. Common link snapped. Now, when Khushwant Singh had done his schooling, he was given admission in the university. He took admission in the university, and at this point of time, the parents decided to give him a separate room as a kind of privacy. So, author was given a separate room when he joined university. Grandmother accepted her seclusion because she could not do anything in this regard, though she was unhappy that this physical space which was common between her and grandson, that was also snapped. And she was very much lonely now, but she spent her time on other activities like reading scriptures, spinning wheel, feeding sparrows in the evening for half an hour or 1 hour. That was the happiest moment of her life. And she always recited prayer inaudibly. Now Khushwant Singh had done his university education also, and it was decided that he should go abroad for higher studies. Khushwant Singh goes abroad for higher studies. Grandmother accepts this with quite stoicism. Stoicism is a kind of state in which our feelings are not exposed. Though she was unhappy about this decision, but she went. Khushwant's grandmother sees Khushwant Singh off at the railway station, kisses his forehead, and Khushwant Singh cherishes it as the last physical contact between them. Because when he was going abroad, grandmother went at the station to see him off. At that point of time, he thought my grandmother may not be there when he returns after 5 years. But it was a pleasant surprise when Khushwant Singh returns after 5 years to find grandmother receiving him at the station. He was happy about it. And more happy was grandmother to receive him. So to celebrate this happiness, she actually celebrated this event like a homecoming of a warrior. Inevitable doom of grandmother. Doom means death or last time. Grandmother celebrates his return home like a warrior. She collected the women of the neighborhood and sang songs of the homecoming of warriors. At that particular day, she skips prayer, and as I have underlined it, it was the first time that she had skipped the prayer in her life. Because at this point of time, at such an age, she has exerted, and that is why she falls ill. Doctor examined and gave prescription telling that it is a mild fever due to exertion. Grandmother thought differently. What she thought? That this is my last time, and she didn't want to spend this time doing anything else but praying. Grandmother regrets not praying, and she took this time to be granted for prayer only, and thought that this is my last time. The next day dies while praying. Next day she dies, and this was quite auspicious on part of that lady, that she had already announced that this is my last time. Grandmother city friends birds arrived to pay their last respect. The birds, they were intimate friends of grandmother. They all collected there around the dead body. There was no chirping at all. They were silent, mourning, but flew away silently without touching the breadcrumbs which were thrown by Khushwant Singh's mother after the dead body was taken for cremation. So this was the a unique kind of respect paid by these birds, very intimate friends, and that is how she lasted her last breath. Now, this title of the chapter, The Portrait of a Lady, is quite important because this title clearly depicts the character of the grandmother. The story revolves around it. So this is all for this part. Next time we will meet again with a new lecture. By that time you can go through the exercise of this chapter. Thank you.